It has been 3 years since I have owned the iHarvest by IG Works. I purchased my first iHarvest in October of 2020 when everybody was home and bored, and I thought, why not? Let's start gardening inside. I loved it so much that I purchased my second one in April of 2021. Over the past 3 years, I've built up quite the inventory of a lot of other products that kind of go along with it, things that I have experimented with and shared with you in other videos. If you're interested in diving into everything that has to do with the iHarvest and the indoor gardens, you can go ahead and check out my playlist. One thing I really like about this system compared to a lot of the other systems is the really small footprint. Now, it seems like it would be really big when you're looking at it or seeing pictures of it, but because it is flush on the back, it fits snug up against the wall. And don't let the fact that these should be mounted to your wall scare you. One of the reasons why they're mounted to the wall is if you have plants in them that are top heavy or pulling on the front, you're gonna make sure that the top layers don't pop off. This is one tiny little screw, much like hanging up a picture plant and then a bracket. That's all there is to it. If you're willing to hang a picture in your house, then you can hook an iHarvest to your wall. A major positive for me for the iHarvest is the fact that it's super customizable. You have total control of this system. There is no app, there is no Wi-Fi, there are no monthly memberships. You simply get the unit and do what you want with it. You can grow with it and get crazy and purchase all kinds of accessories, or you can use it just as it comes with the full kit. You get everything that you need to start right away on day one. And because it's all manual timers and it's not relying on Wi-Fi or an app, I don't have to worry about power outages or if the app is gonna work or if there's app updates. I can simply turn it on and off as needed. So I really like this is considered an off-the-grid type unit. When I first started with the systems, I was running the recommended 15 minutes on and 45 minutes off with the water cycles for the pump. And over the 3 years and experimenting, I kind of started to go to 15 minutes on and an hour off. Now, if you look at a clock, that doesn't work. So I would have a little extra off time in the evening. So the 15 minutes on and an hour off has continued to be my favorite time setting. Another thing I love are these light bars. Because you can move the light bars in and out, they kind of go with your plant's growth. You can slide them up and down the poles depending on where the plants are growing. And 3 years in, I have not replaced a light bulb. So I'm still using the original lights on the original poles. I have not had to replace them. They have not burned out. So the longevity of the LEDs is definitely worth it. Now with my light bars, I used to take my solutions and I would kind of set them on the base instead of just sitting them on my wood floors. And over the time, the solution has kind of eaten away at the base of the light bar. But again, aesthetically, it doesn't bother me, but just be careful that you're not placing any solutions like any liquid nutrients or your pH up or down, or maybe some hydrogen peroxide. Just take this as a friendly warning or friendly reminder not to place any of those solutions on your base. Now, both of these units being 3 years or 2.5 years old, I'm still using the same pumps. I haven't replaced those either. I have been lucky with those. I do know that the pumps can go out over some time, but I haven't had any issues with them. They're still running. They can be loud at times. They have a kicking on and a kicking off sound, and sometimes they will vibrate on the bottom of the unit if you're using the suction cups. One little trick that I have found is that if I take the tubing and hang it over top of the filter basket inside, it allows that to free flow in the water. And then that way, when it kicks on or off, it just kind of floats in the water. And as it's running, it's not touching anything. So that gets rid of any of the vibration noises. Another positive with these units is I have not had them leak. Now, let's back up a little bit and say, like, what do you actually mean by that? Have I had drips? Have I had accidents on the floor? Absolutely. But a lot of that is probably me carrying water across the house to fill up the tanks, and I've had dripping from the plants when they've leaned forward, they've gotten too heavy, and they're pulling out and my clips are not secure on the net baskets. So that is my own fault for either not trimming things up, just being messy and splashing water on the floor. But the actual unit itself, between layers or something crazy, water spraying anywhere, that has never happened. I don't have any base underneath of them. I don't have water trays underneath of them. I don't have water sensors. I've never gotten into all of that because in the 3 years, I have felt that they have been very, very safe for me. Over the course of the iHarvest, they have made some upgrades, which is great when you have a company that is really listening to their customer base. It used to come with black net cups, and now they have designed their own white ones. The white ones have built-in clips where the black ones used the green clips. But for me personally, I like the black. I'm gonna stay with the black. I like the clips. I like that I can order more black ones. I can order more clips if they break over time. I just think that they're easier to get in and out when I'm moving plants around because I do tend to move plants around a lot. So with the black ones, I will use reflective covers. If you are familiar with this channel, you have heard me talk about these reflective covers 100 times over, and I still love them. It holds down the algae from the rapid rooter, and it also reflects light a 360, so around the base of the plant it's also getting light. The new white cups that come from IG Works, you actually get caps too, so you can cover the spots that you're not using, and they have covers that have holes in them so you don't have to reuse the reflective. Again, very customizable in what you choose to do. Now, what about the seeds or what you're planting in it? The unit will come with its own seeds. So you're gonna get a starter pack of seeds, and those differ from time to time, whether they be green, some herbs, maybe some tomatoes, but you can do whatever seeds you want. You don't have to order their net cups with the seeds in them like some of the other units that I've reviewed. You can do whatever you want. So you can experiment. You could have an entire unit of herbs. You could have it all full of flowers. You could mix and match. Just make sure whatever you're planting, they all like the same nutrients. And if you want to learn more about that, again, you can watch more videos that I've done where I talk about balancing out the nutrients and making sure your plants are getting what they need. The iHarvest comes with what they call rapid rooters, and this is still to this day my favorite planting media. You can start with the rapid rooters, and if you want to switch to something else, a different name brand version of those, or you can switch to rock wool, which I don't like rock wool. I've said that 100 times over, but you could switch to that. You could use clay pebbles. You could use any other media to hold your seeds. But for me, I really like sticking with the rapid rooters. You can purchase those off of IG Works, or you can grab those at local hydroponic stores, or you can even get them on Amazon. The iHarvest also allows for large roots. You don't have to worry about the roots being stuck into a little basket, or even if you're doing a deep water culture, a tub or a tabletop. You just want to make sure your filter basket is clear of roots, but it gives a lot of space for those bigger plants to get a really good established root base. Now at the bottom layer of the iHarvest comes a noise mesh pad. And it used to be kind of a plastic screen, and now they've gone to something more padded. And the purpose of this is for the water flow. When the water flow comes down, it will funnel onto that, and it is a noise reduction. For me personally, I find that over time the roots kind of get stuck in that, and I don't like the cleanup later. If the roots get stuck in that, they can eventually turn into root rot if you are only taking your unit apart maybe every 6 months. And I honestly don't mind the noise. They are going to be more noisy at the beginning when there is no root base and you just have seeds in the growing media. But as the roots start to establish, that will kind of start to slow down the sound. And as your plants grow off the front, they're also going to deaden the sound because the plants are going to kind of insulate the unit. So for me, it's just a little bit at the beginning, maybe the first month or so, they're a little bit louder. And I run 2 and I still don't mind the noise. Another point I'd like to talk about is the cleaning. Some people don't like it and some people don't mind it. So this is all, again, going to be your own personal experience with it. I usually stay around a 6-month cleaning schedule. You don't really have to drain it out and start over. There's no refresh cycle. And after 6 months, I can tell it's starting to get maybe some algae buildup, it's getting some nutrient buildup. And about that 6-month mark, it's like, okay, it's time to clean this thing. So I just pull everything out, take all of the layers apart. And if it's in the middle of the winter, I'm gonna clean it in my bathtub. If it's in the middle of the summer, I'll take it outside and I will do it with a hose. For me, this is a really easy system to clean. I don't mind taking that time once every 6 months and taking it apart, but I believe it's worth it because of all the growing and the gardening that you get to do in between that little designated day that you need to clean the system. IG Works also came out with their own tabletop unit this last year called the iHarvest, and the iHarvest is a really great starting point. So if somebody wants to start with just a tabletop system, you can use that. I like to use that if I'm starting plants for the iHarvest. You can also get different tops for the unit now, so it can convert your 2-inch net cups from the iHarvest over to the iHarvest. I've just used the iHarvest off on the side for something different. So if there is a plant that wants a lower nutrient level than what I'm running in the large unit, I'll just place the plants off to the side and grow them separately. So it's a really good pairing depending if you want to use it to grow the plants to move or just grow them separately in a different unit. Some of my favorite things that I've grown over the last 2 years is definitely all of the greens. I love having salads, just having that fresh green constantly going. I love doing green onions. Now I don't do the chives, I do actual green onions, and you're gonna grow them until you start to get just a little bit of an onion ball, but you're gonna get that really big, beautiful, lush green top that you can cut up just like a chive. And of course, if you've seen my other videos, you'll see how much I love growing kale. I have done plenty of times where I've grown one entire unit is just all kale. We use that just like we do for our other greens, but I also make kale chips in my air fryer and I can't get enough of those. It is really nice and fresh, more fresh than you are gonna get at your local grocery store. Best part about these units is you don't have to have a huge outside garden area. This is perfect for someone who really wants to get started in the indoor gardening, doesn't have the space, or for someone like me where I have a very small outdoor growing season and I want to continue that throughout the year inside. The iHarvest literally changed my life. I didn't realize when I bought it that I would start doing YouTube videos and telling you guys about the iHarvest. And we went from Grow with Angie to now this last year, Grow Your Homestead with Angie. I'm gonna be telling you about more homesteading type products. We're gonna be doing unboxing. Make sure you stick around, hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free. We'll see you on the next video.